Oakland Chinatown is almost as old as San Francisco Chinatown. It's been in this location for 150 years. My name is Roy Chan, and I grew up here in Oakland and here in Oakland Chinatown. We're at the corner of 8th Street and Webster. This is where Chinatown began. This is where the first businesses and residences in Chinatown in the 1870s began. And from here, it's spread out. Now it's probably 10, 15 blocks big, Chinatown. Oakland Chinatown is a beautiful working class neighborhood. Unlike San Francisco Chinatown, its businesses really cater to local residents. There are thousands of residents that live in the neighborhood. It's still an immigrant gateway for newcomers, and they live and shop and work here. So this is Yun Hop grocery store. This is a grocery store that's been here in Chinatown since 1931, and it's still here. It's a multi-generational family grocery store. They sell fresh noodles, the Hor Fun noodles, as well as the egg noodles. That's very unique here. So I wanted to come and say hello because your business is so old.
Yeah.
Yun Hop. How long have you been here?
Since 1931.
1931. And it's the same family? Or?
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
fourth generation. Started with my, my husband's grandfather.
And you're carrying it on. And then your kids, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, my son's helping me and my daughter. We make our own noodles. Pretty famous for making our own noodles and stuff. When my great-grandfather-in-law started this, there wasn't that many Chinese grocery store or noodle factory. We used to deliver to restaurants, but not anymore.
That's really the purpose of the Oral History Project, is to really make some of these businesses here in Chinatown much more visible, not just to the people they serve, but to everybody. I think it's a great way to really understand deeply the neighborhood. The Oakland Chinatown Oral History Project has been in existence for 15 years now. We really wanted to capture the stories of Chinatown elders before they pass on to really understand Chinatown's legacy and history. A lot of our stories are about specific places that have changed over time through different generations here in Oakland Chinatown. We documented the history of the Asian Branch Library, the first library in the country that features collections in 7 different Asian languages. We also documented the stories of Lincoln School and Lincoln Recreation Center, which has over a century of history of being a community center for youth. And currently, we are documenting stories about family businesses. So we really wanted to capture the importance of family-run Chinatown businesses as integral to the fabric of the neighborhood, of the city. This building here at 723 Webster represents a century's worth of family-run businesses. Hello, hey Jack.
Roy.
Hello.
Have a seat.
Yes. What are we having for lunch today, Jack?
Very Chinese authentic soup. And this is a steamed chicken. It's very popular dish right here.
Wow. Mushrooms, Chinese sausage.
Chinese sausage.
Yeah.
And vegetable.
The uniqueness of our restaurant and our food is, the herbal stuff.
And what is this soup right here?
This is the back truffle with the chicken, steamed for 4 hours.
What kind of health benefits does it have?
This is good for your immune system.
What are the ingredients?
Like Dongsam.
It's a plant.
It has a strong medical taste. This is the morale mushroom is very popular right now.
So if you have high blood pressure, cold, instead of taking Western medicine, our moms would cook this soup for us.
Yep.
And it's a natural way to improve your health.
You steam 4 hours, and all the good stuff will go to the soup, right? It's more easy to be digested by your body. That's why we go out with this kind of soup, You cannot find this soup anywhere in the United States. I'm the first one to introduce this kind of stuff.
So Jack, why did you open this restaurant?
Just trying to preserve the traditional Chinese culture food and offer the new generation or any new immigrant what they used to have in their hometown.
This food helps people to feel like they're at home. When immigrants are being told they don't belong, they come here and they feel a sense of belonging by eating this food. So this is the Great China chop suey restaurant that was at this location back in the 1950s. This is where the Wongs had their family restaurant.
My family owned that restaurant from 1943 to 1961, and that was where my childhood blossomed. All of our living time, our being with people time, was spent inside the restaurant. So I see the restaurant as my womb.
I've been living outside of Chinatown for many years now. When I began to write, I did write about Oakland Chinatown a lot and about the family and what we experienced. At times, I felt like I was really not an American because of racism and sexism, but at the same time, I knew I was part of that community and being cared for, I think, by all the neighbors and the parents of my fellow students and neighbors. Chinatown was the only world I knew, even though we were a part of Oakland. My heart is there.
When I was a child, somebody at the restaurant gave me a brownie camera. So I took the camera as another way of interacting and speaking with myself and with the people that I saw. And then in the 1980s and 90s, I decided that I would do drawings from them. Chinatown was just a wonderful place to be. I belonged somewhere. And that was in contrast to what our immigrant parents felt coming to America, coming and facing the 1882 exclusion law. Here is a drawing of my mother, my father, and me. And the image of my mom is that of her immigration photograph. She was not allowed to come in as my father's wife, but as his sister, because the 1882 exclusion law forbade the entry of wives. And so for the longest time, my mother had a dual identity. It affected us, the children, because we could call our father, father, but we had to call our mother auntie, because she entered the country as our father's sister.
To a lot of people, they think that Chinatown is just a place for Asians to gather because they like to be together, when in fact, the origins of Chinatown was because they were not allowed to live anywhere else in the city or own property outside the city. That history is important and needs to be taught really through the experiences and voices of our elders. Many of the stories we've collected have been archived digitally on a map on our project website, ChinatownMemories.org, where you can click on a building and stories will pop up and interviews of the elders that used to live here or work here, sort of like a time machine.
The name of the Chinatown was Wah-Kiao-Ho-Kao. I'm speaking to you in Toisanese.
Oh, okay.
Wah-Kiao-Ho-Kao.
This is where my dad lived at as a bachelor in the 1950s. His name was Albert Chan. He was a butcher, came here as a single guy. I remember in the mornings he would go to Madison Park every morning and do Tai Chi with his friends. Madison Park, Chinatown residents would come and gather, and there would be many different groups, and they do Tai Chi, they do cultural dance. For some elders, it's really a place for them to socialize, to connect with friends. This park is their living room, and it's their cultural sustenance more than just recreation at a park.
This is Qigong. You just come here between 7:30, 8:30. There aren't really any instructions. You just kind of follow. It's very simple, but yet it covers all your joints and every bone in your body. This is very special. It signifies Chinatown and the community. So it's nice to see this community just gather like this. It just happens. And it's a great community.
This park and the two BART blocks next to this used to be a part of historic Chinatown until the 1960s, when BART came in and redeveloped on these blocks. Hundreds of residents were displaced from Chinatown. And then the community started coming back to reclaim these spaces. Their presence here is a way to kind of protest from the development that has happened here that has fractured the community. 8th Street is where you do all of your shopping. These are where all the fish markets are, the produce markets are. This is a Chinese herbal shop, so this is where you would go to buy ingredients to make your soups. And there's a number of herb shops here in Chinatown that date back since the beginning of Chinatown. I mean, if you walk around Oakland Chinatown, you'll notice that there's very few signage in English. It's because they really cater to local Chinese immigrants, Vietnamese immigrants. It's an opportunity for you to, I would say, dig deeper and look around and observe and learn to understand what the offerings are and get to know the business owners here. Many of them do speak English, even though they speak Chinese to each other. But it's an opportunity for you to engage and get to know them and their story. How long have you been here? How long have you been in business?
43 years.
43 years. Wow.
I'm the antique in Chinatown.
You're the antique in Chinatown. What kind of business is it?
Herbal, Chinese medicine.
So if I have arthritis, would you be able to help me?
We can take care of you.
Okay.
We will help you better energy also.
I was asking him what would help lower my cholesterol. Dry cranberries, and he put it in soup.
Yeah. They low down the cholesterol and blood pressure also. I'm the first generation in my family doing this.
So he's retaining the culture from his hometown, his homeland in Hong Kong and Guangzhou, and he's bringing it here. He is definitely a cultural keeper of the neighborhood. So across the street where that pagoda roof is the Wong Family Association. It's one of over a dozen family and district associations here in Oakland Chinatown. These associations play an important role historically for the community. Much like social service agencies today, they provide very important services, whether it's access to jobs, housing, for new immigrants, particularly connected to that family surname or that village that they come from in China. In this case, it's the Wong family. So, you know, if you're a Wong and you're a new immigrant and you come here, the first place you go if you don't have a place to live or a job is you come to the Family Association here, and they'll connect you to those resources. And that dates back to the origins of this Chinatown back over a century ago, when these family associations played a really important role in helping new immigrants. They're more of a social organization now and gathering. Both in Oakland and San Francisco Chinatown, a number of the properties are owned by family associations. That's an important reason that many of the buildings here haven't been sold to speculators. The cultural fabric of the neighborhood remains intact in terms of the businesses and the residents, that it really is maintained as an immigrant gateway, and that's because these family associations make it a point to keep it that way. And so they play a very important role in fighting and preventing gentrification. Lunar New Year's holding on. The traditions are still very authentic. As a parent, I'm trying to pass on those traditions as authentically as I can.
One of my favorite times in Chinatown was when the Lunar New Year dragon came. There was sound, there was the pounding of the drums, the beautiful colors of the lion dancers that came. I got myself out of school and followed the lion and the dancers and the drums all day. And to this day, I can hear the drums. They've lived in my body for a long time.
This Chinatown to me is home. My dad didn't really felt like he belonged anywhere, and then he came to Oakland Chinatown and lived and worked here and felt a deep sense of belonging and was able to practice his culture here and to feel connected. And it's a part of my identity.
I'm tethered to Chinatown, I'm tethered to Oakland. I live in the suburbs now, but I come back as much as I can, because when I come back, my soul is fed.